So this is going to be part 2 of my model car collecting tips, and what I'm going to do today is talk about the lower end models. So those are the models in between $12 and $35 for those people who don't want to break the bank just to start a nice collection. And there really is a lot of options for these lower end models, a lot more than you'd expect. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to do I'm going to mention about brands, prices, quality issues, etc. So the first brand that I will mention is Mondo. You hear me talk a lot about Mondo because I have a ton of them. And the reason why is because they're made so well. They all have suspension, doors pretty much all open, although on some special edition models you will find that the back doors don't open. It's actually the same thing on the Premier Edition, and you will find Premier and Special Edition. They are the exact same thing. Sometimes Premier is slightly more realistic, but really there is no difference. It's just more expensive. I really don't know why they do that. But the engine detail is normally very realistic. Interior detail very realistic. They're all very solidly built. What I'll sometimes also mention is that these model car brands sometimes have 2 generations, and it's because they get better over time at making these models. The earlier generations normally aren't built quite as well, or they're not up to par as far as durability. So this is an older Mondo, and you can just tell by this that these wheels are not nearly as solid. These doors, same deal. It's not as well made as the new ones are. Interior is not as realistic either. And this plastic here, it doesn't even look real. Like this has a glossy color, a glossy red color because it's metal. This almost looks like a matte color. Well, not too impressive, definitely not. But Mondo, I'd say overall, pretty good. Then you have other brands that are also 2-generation brands, like Motor Max. Motor Max is 2-generation here. First generation, second generation. You really can't tell the difference from the outside, but they definitely are very different cars. Normally with the old Motor Max generation you don't get suspension. This one actually does. With the newer ones you always get suspension, which is nice to see. On the old ones, the interior, good view of this. The interior is all one color. It really doesn't look too realistic. The buttons aren't colored in, and it's kind of blah in there as comparison. Sometimes you do get the back doors that open. My pet peeve with these model car companies is that they don't always open up the back door. So if I see the back door open, I'm very interested in the model already. Really. The new generation, on the other hand, if you look in here, is fantastic. I mean, I would say this is even better than Mondo as far as the interiors go. They are about the same price, around $25 to $28. But you have the wood grain look here, all the buttons are colored in, wheels turn. Excellent, excellent car. It's both built, this is built very good. The old ones were built very good. I mean, they were tough, but they just weren't as realistic. Same price too. And they still do sell them, so you just have to kind of look out for them. Another one. Here's a 2-generation one. Burgo, which is an Italian automaker, model maker. And first generation, second generation. This is actually a scale 121, and this is now in a Mondo edition. So you'll find the exact same car in a Mondo because Mondo and Burgo are part of the same company. And this is, if you've watched my videos, this is very poorly built. It falls apart all the time. It's not very realistic on the inside. The engine's pretty realistic though. But it has no suspension. The wheels wiggle like that. You can see the bending like crazy. Now, granted, some of this I did when I was a kid, so that's why it's so damaged. But it really should hold up a lot better than that. The new ones, on the other hand, I have been very impressed with. The only difference between this and the other Mondos, it doesn't have suspension. That's it. Same price, same quality, I would consider. These doors all feel sturdy. Interior very realistic. Just, I mean, really good cars, definitely. These new Burgos. I guess one thing I have found is that they are a little bit loose on the wheels. They're not going to fall off. They are strong, but they kind of wobble around a bit. There's really nothing to worry about. Another thing I forgot to mention is with Maisto, they have made some errors as far as the design of their cars goes. Like, I bought an SL63 AMG, it was white, and that was a scale 118 Maisto, and I originally was going to buy the Premier Edition SL65 Roadster, but the engine was a V8, and if you know cars, you know that the SL65 doesn't have a V8, it has a V12. So you just have to look at the pictures before you buy these cars, because sometimes they do make mistakes, and they're not good mistakes, and you just don't like to have that with your models. Here is Mondo Motors. These guys just started arriving in the United States. It's been in Europe for a little while. Over here, they're overpriced. To be honest, this one was actually $50, and it is not worth $50, I can tell you that. These doors are loose. They're relatively loose, they're wobbly. Inside, realism is okay, but definitely not up to par with Maisto. And for $50, whereas a Maisto is $25, that's half the price. That's like over half the price, so that's ridiculous. The outside, I mean, it is pretty good on the outside as far as everything goes. This doesn't look too realistic, the front end. In fact, this entire grille here, if you can see it, it really almost has no texture. Engine detail. Yeah, I'd say the engine detail on this is pretty good. It's a gigantic engine block, but that's what it really is in the car. And this has no suspension. I guess the wheels are well made, but they're rather squeaky. This doesn't turn very well. Mondo Motors, not the best out there, especially not for the price. Then we have one of my personal favorites, Welli. This is similar to Maisto in the way that it's built. They're all very high quality. A lot of these model brands I've found that are very high quality. So generally, if you don't know about it, it's probably going to be pretty good. So these wheels turn, same deal. Engine detail in these Wellis is impeccable. In fact, everything about these Wellis really are impeccable. The interior is beautiful. You don't have the simulated carpet. Will not get that until you get a little bit higher up. But, I mean, very good quality. I love these things. I originally didn't get these cars because their back doors would never open. So if you were to get, say, a Volkswagen Touareg, the back doors wouldn't open. And that's just annoying because it's not as realistic as the real car should be. So I would actually consider this one of my favorite model brands, Welli, just for the overall design. But you have to get a 2-door one. You can't get a 4-door because then the back door isn't going to open, and that's annoying. The way to figure all of this out is you can go onto websites like diecastmodelswholesale.com, and you can look at the pictures. If it doesn't show the back door opening, chances are it doesn't open. So sometimes that annoys you, sometimes it doesn't. For me, it's quite annoying. I would definitely look into that. That's about $25 as well. All these models I'm showing are between about $20 and $35 mostly. This Hummer, I believe, was $30. And this is a Maisto. Same deal, very realistic. Again, to demonstrate, that doesn't open. So you will find some Maistos that don't have parts that open. Slightly annoying. If you want $12, you can usually buy them at a department store like Walmart or Target or something like that, and you can get decent prices on that. If you go to a specialty hobby shop or you buy it online, it's going to be rather expensive. So here is the last model brand that I will show, and it really isn't that great. This is Jada, or Jada Toys, as you will sometimes see it, and these really are toys. They're not really models. model cars. I mean, they're okay. Like these, the wheels are connected on an axle. They don't turn. Right here, you know, the doors are okay quality. Inside, it is mostly all black. I mean, the realism was just slightly okay, but everything is slightly oversized than it really should be. Like these wheels are too big. I mean, granted, this thing was it was called Big Time Customs, which I normally wouldn't buy, but I went with it. I mean, the wheels do look nice on this car as the model, but it's not stock. That is not the real wheels. If you want a stock one, there is a Maisto Camaro out currently. It does have the halo lights, I will give them that, but that's not too realistic there. There is no suspension. It really feels like a toy. You can hear it kind of rolling around there. It's a toy. The good thing is, if you live in a house that have kids that might destroy things, then this thing will be resistant to them, no doubt. So that is an overall look at the lower end models. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on the comment board below, and I will be happy to answer them. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful.